Good morning, afternoon and evening everyone. My name is Liam and welcome to a review of the recent WWE pay-per-view WWE Payback. Yes, it just happened this Sunday. This is a couple days later just because I had certain videos scheduled at certain times, so you're just getting it a couple days later. The show opened up, let's just dive right in. The show opened up with New Day before any kind of promo or anything else or any title or sponsors. New Day came out and done just like a little promo to talk about Payback in general, just talking about how awesome it was that there was an event going on, made fun of Beyonce's new song, and Xavier Woods suggested that Beyonce slide right into his DMs. And that was a pretty funny way to open up the show. It kind of got people in a good mood to start off with, and New Day are still pretty white hot at the moment, so why not just use them to open up the show? They're pretty charismatic, if you will. So it was a nice way to open up the show. It then went straight into the opening title card, and the whole opening video package for this event was the new age of wrestling, the new talent, all these new stars coming into WWE, basically showing off all the NXT people who have come up recently and AJ Styles, because they're the only ones who are really on the show. I do feel a bit bad for Apollo Crews though, because he's come up the same time as like Baron Corbin, Enzo, and Vaudevillains, and all of them were at least on the pay-per-view, except for Baron Corbin, who was on the kickoff show, and Apollo Crews just kind of was in the background talking to Stephanie McMahon at one point. So it's a bit upsetting for him. Although I don't have any worries for the future of his career, I think he's pretty set for at least one big push at some point. It's a little bit disconcerting, if that's the correct words, that he wasn't put on the pay-per-view along with all the other call-ups as such. But it was a nice little promo to show off the new talent and like show off the fact that the product's kind of evolving now. There's new people coming in. It actually like re-pushed it in a lot of people's heads, like holy crap, there are actually a lot of new people in the product at the moment, and there are quite a few unique matches going on at the moment, so it's pretty cool. The first match of the night was the tag team match between Enzo Amore and the Vaudevillains. Enzo Amore and Cass obviously came out first, while the New Day sat on beanbags on ringside and decided to eat pizza, and they were like doing tweets and selfies and posting them and doing videos and as such. Enzo came out in a pretty sweet Chewbacca jacket. They cut a nice promo all the way down to the ring, and of course they got a huge pop as well because Enzo and Cass are just like, I'd say Enzo and Cass are probably more over than New Day. A lot of people are considering New Day to get quite stale now, and Enzo and Cass are pretty fresh in terms of the main roster at least. And Enzo's very like good on the mic. I don't think, barring Kevin Owens and maybe a couple members of the New Day, I don't think there's many people in the product at the moment that can touch him for microphone or for promo quality. The man is just like so damn good with everything he says. If you see me looking down like this at any point, it's because I just like made notes during the whole event. Yeah, good promo from the crowd I had written down. The crowd were huge into them. Big chants for Enzo Amore, as always. Even though it's an Enzo Amore chant, it counts for the tag team. That's how I see it. And then the Vaudevillains came out to decent boos and decent heat as well, so that's good. The worst thing that can happen is they come out to silence. So if they come out to boos, it means people actually care about them in some form or way, which is always the worry when there's new talent being called up, is that they come up and no one really cares about them, such as Apollo Crews. That is the route he is going down. When you just let him keep winning matches and he doesn't talk on the microphone or anything, he doesn't really develop a character. This is how you just make someone that people don't really give a crap about and then you shove them down your throat, a la Roman Reigns. The match started off really well though. You could tell that these two teams had faced each other before. They were comfortable with each other. Enzo and I can't remember his name now. Is it Edwards? I can't remember which one it is. The one that's on the right on the picture. Started off the match with a nice little chain wrestling part where it went into arm bars and it went into bridges and went into shoulders down on the mats. That was really cool. Then it had a good little back and forth part of tag team action. That was really cool. Enzo Amore and Cass got a nice tag team maneuvers off. They were looking really good. And then there was a bad bump. There was a bad bump where Enzo was being thrown, he was meant to be thrown into the ropes. and I think he was meant to slide underneath it. I think he was meant to baseball slide under the ropes. So either he got thrown too quickly, like he was carrying too much momentum and it threw him off, or he just mistimed it, because as he's sliding under the rope, his head, like the temple of his head, catches the middle rope. So his head bounces off the rope, throws it back, and as he's sliding down, this side of his head slams on the mat, like near enough what they call the apron, where the hardest part of the ring is, because that's where the steel beam goes all the way around it. His head was pretty close to that, so he hit a hard part of the mat with his head that was carrying whiplash momentum from the ring. He fell outside the ring, and straight away you could see his eyes were like glazed over. He wasn't moving. It turned out later on that he got a concussion. He suffered a pretty bad concussion. Well, not pretty bad, but it was enough to stop the match. The match went to a no contest. They didn't declare Vaudevillains the winner. That was never mentioned. The referee just called off the match, and Enzo was taken off in a stretcher. So that's really unfortunate, because that match was only about 5 minutes of wrestling before Enzo got himself injured, but it was looking good to start off with. Like, both teams were very comfortable with each other and looked ready to put on a damn good show. So it's quite unfortunate, but the good news is that throughout the show they were giving updates on Enzo. So number one, that's a good show that WWE actually care about him. And number two, they mentioned that he was moving his arms and legs, which is always important when you've got concussion. He was talking to people, like they were asking him questions, and he was able to respond appropriately, which is always important with concussion. And Kevin Owens on his Twitter actually went to go see Enzo in the hospital and posted a few updates, a few selfies with him showing that he was up and about and walking. So that's always a good show. Of course, you might not see Enzo and Cass on TV for a while, just because with WWE's new concussion laws, Enzo's going to have to pass an impact test to make sure that his head's in the right place, ever since all of the Chris Benoit controversy and all the other head injuries, lawsuits that WWE suffered a while back. Now, anytime someone gets a concussion, they have to go through rigorous testing just to make sure they're okay. Which is why Paige went off TV for a very long time at one point. After her whole thing with Charlotte, she suffered a concussion, and she hasn't really been back since then. So that just kind of goes to show how long we might be without Enzo and Cass at this point, which is awful, because like I've been saying, they've been white hot. But when they do come back, I'm sure they'll be just as over. I expect to see Vaudevillains go into a storyline with the New Day now, though. Just go forward, give Enzo and Cass a little while to recuperate. That's just my opinion on that. So, bad match, good match that ended in a bad way. That could have happened well. Next up, we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. This was a match that I was super excited about because I had no clue who was going to win. Like, literally going into this match, I was just like, either one of these men can win and it would make sense. And that's kind of what you wanted. It started off with a really good promo, like a really good video package of showing their past together, how Sami Zayn got Kevin Owens into WWE, how they've always been there for each other. Sami was at Kevin Owens' wedding, they're travelling together. They didn't mention previous wrestling organisations by name, but they did mention they've been wrestling elsewhere before, which is a big step for WWE, because they kind of just used to pretend that, well, if you're not in WWE, then you don't wrestle. Like, they kind of pretended no other wrestling organisations existed. And now they're kind of just not, like, being like, wow, these Ring of Honor are great, but they're just kind of starting to acknowledge that people do have a life outside WWE. So that was good. And it was pretty cool how they touched on the fact that Kevin Owens injured Sami Zayn, and as such, Kevin Owens got that whole storyline with John Cena when it was supposed to be Sami Zayn. So that was kind of cool that they actually touched on that. Sami Zayn openly saying in the video package that Kevin Owens stole his debut on Raw, because that whole package was meant to be a Sami Zayn thing, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere. So Kevin Owens came out to his usual cheers and heat, and Kevin Owens is just amazing. The man's like Midas at the moment, everything he touches turns to gold. Sami Zayn comes out, big pop for Sami Zayn, and everyone sings along to his entrance, his theme song. His theme song may be my favourite theme song at the moment, barring Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka. They're like my top 3 ones at the moment. But his theme, everyone was singing along. So that was cool. It was high energy from the start. A lot of reversals right in the start, quick movements straight away. Everyone got fired up for this really, really quickly. Like it was a 100. They were in 5th gear for the whole match. It was amazing. What else did I write down? Kevin Owens' charisma in the ring is just phenomenal. At one point, he kicked Sami Zayn in the back, and rather than just stand there and taunt, he pretended he kicked a field goal. He's always making fun of Michael Cole on ringside, which will always get you a nice little bump, a nice little cheer. He's always talking to his opponents, slapping them around, telling them how much better he is than them. Kevin Owens he is like the definition of a character. He has his character, which is the cocky prize fighter who thinks he's better than everyone else, and he sticks with it during the match, after the match, before the match, on social media, outside social media, and he plays it really damn well. And like everything he says is just a hit. He very rarely says stuff that people go like, Things he just says make sense. They make sense to his character and things, and it just all links together so well. That's what people miss. A really cool spot at one point where Kevin Owens was running from the corner of the ring. Sami Zayn picked him up while he was running into a blue thunder bomb. It wasn't like a oh my god moment, but I just thought that was a cool spot. Kevin Owens hit another one of his amazing frog splashes. This one was easily better than the one he done at WrestleMania. This one actually looked like a frog splash. That was my complaint from the one from WrestleMania. This one, he got the full frog action and landed square on Sami Zayn. I was very impressed with this one. If he keeps it up like that, that's a damn good frog splash. And it was just a good, physical, high pace, high impact match. And it ended with a few reversals of moves that ultimately culminated in Kevin Owens hitting the pop-up powerbomb and winning. So Kevin Owens won the match, and this was my show-stealing match of the night. This match is the match you should watch. If you're going to watch any of them, watch this one. For pure wrestling talent, watch this one, because it was fantastic. Both men were just fantastic, were just amazing from the start. They were just as good as it could get, and it made the crowd so hot. The crowd were in it from start to finish with cheers, boos, chanting, all sorts. And being in Chicago, if you can have a match that doesn't have a CM Punk chant in it, you're doing pretty well. I'll go on to CM Punk chants later on because I have a bone to pick with that. However, what happened after the match is possibly even better than the match itself. Kevin Owens threw Sami Zayn out the ring, demanded Byron Saxton come into the ring and interview him. Kevin Owens then cut a damn good promo saying how he was going to go after the Intercontinental Championship again, how great he is, this, that and the other. And then we was treated to some Kevin Owens commentary! Kevin Owens' commentary is fantastic. He's one of the best wrestlers to go on the commentary table just because he has natural heat with Michael Cole and Byron Saxton, and JBL loves Kevin Owens, so those two have like a little pally, like like wink wink nudge nudge together kind of thing. And we also got to see Kevin Owens wearing JBL's hat. So he went on commentary for the next match, which was the Intercontinental Title Match between The Miz with his lovely wife Maryse versus Cesaro. The Miz gets good heat all the time. That was one of the first things I wrote down. The Miz, no matter what he's doing, is always getting booed, and pretty much you can put him in a feud with anyone or have him talk to anyone, and the other guy is going to look like the good guy. Like, The Miz may not be the most talented wrestler, but he's very good at what he does, and that is be someone who you are supposed to hate. So that's always what he's got his role, and he does it well. Cesaro still came out to his James Bond entrance. I'm not a big fan of it, the whole ripping off the clothes thing and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but if it works for him, then that. He had a new Cesaro section shirt though, that was kind of cool. And there was a lot of people with Cesaro section signs. Like, oh, there was a huge Cesaro section there tonight. Or not tonight, a couple nights ago. It was really damn cool. Kevin Owens on commentary is funny. That's all I wrote for that. I could have wrote that about 7 or 8 times. There was just too many one-liners. even just simple stuff like he kept telling Byron Saxton to just shut up and no one really cares what he says, and he should just go call his mum while this match is on because no one really minds what he says. And at one point he called The Miz Mike, and then him and Michael Cole had a good little back and forth. That's enough. If you're gonna watch that match for Kevin Owens commentary. It was a good match. It was a good match because Cesaro got to show off all his athleticism, like all his running around, uppercuts, all the different ways he can pick up Miz, all the slams he can do, his jumping stuff. They made Cesaro look really good in this match. Like the first 5 minutes of this match was just dedicated to making Cesaro look good. And then the last 5 minutes of the match was pretty much dedicated to doing the same, where he just hit Miz with about 8 European uppercuts. He must have done his Cesaro swing for about 30 seconds on the Miz, and it just made him look very good. Maurice is not a good actress. Maurice just had an awkward face throughout the whole thing. Like whenever Miz was getting hit and whenever Miz was winning, she kind of had the same facial reaction, and it was bothering me the whole time. I don't know whether it's just because she's not been in WWE very much recently and she doesn't remember how to act on ringside when you're actually watching a match, but she kind of, I don't know, it just kind of just threw me off a bit that she wasn't really reacting in the appropriate ways. Kevin Owens also done a really good job talking up the wrestlers. He was talking about how Miz is a really smart guy in the ring for attacking Cesaro's injured shoulder, and people underestimate the Miz, but then he can come out and get the win when you least expect it. And then he started talking about how Cesaro's really impressive in the ring, and you don't want to take one of those European uppercuts because it's the beginning of the end. And that's kind of what some of the commentators miss out on. Like, yeah, they talk about the match sometimes, and they always overdo it with having their own little banter between them and telling stories and talking about stuff that isn't even happening in the ring. They don't really mention or try and talk up talent that deserves it. Like, I know JBL went through his thing of talking about League of Nations as if they were the Four Horsemen. That's not the right kind of talking up talent I'm talking about. Just the way Kevin Owens is just like, I can still beat Miz, but Miz is still someone to worry about. Or Cesaro's really strong, and I don't want to take a European uppercut, but I'm smarter than him, so I can beat him. It's like Kevin Owens still kept his attitude, he still kept his personality, whilst talking up the other wrestlers to make them look good. And that's just something that is needed sometimes to make people seem like legitimate threats, and to make people seem like, yeah, these are tough guys in the ring. Going on to the end of the match though, or coming into the final parts of the match, Sami Zayn came back out and started beating up Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens throughout the whole thing was just talking about how he was done with Sami Zayn now. He's beaten Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn can't touch him. Their rivalry's over because I've beaten him and he's nowhere near as good as me, blah 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 blah. So Sami Zayn came out towards the end of the match, started beating up Kevin Owens. Cesaro at one point got the Miz into a crossface, a crippler crossface. Ooh, they're starting to use that move a lot more. I feel like they're purposefully bringing it back now, but a lot of people are using crippler crossfaces at the moment. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's fight spilled onto the apron or the ring or whatever you want to call it. The referee started trying to break them up. The referee missed the Miz tapping out. Cesaro stood up, knocked Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn off the apron, and The Miz won with a roll-up on Cesaro while having a handful of tights. This Intercontinental match was less about the Intercontinental match itself and was more about, I think anyway, setting up for the next match, which is going to be a fatal four-way between The Miz, Cesaro, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, all for the Intercontinental Championship match, especially since the next pay-per-view is Extreme Rules. So best believe you're going to be getting like a fatal four-way Extreme Rules match with them 4 participants. So they all had a brawl at the end, and Kevin Owens was left standing on top. He hit pop-up powerbombs on Sami Zayn. Cesaro got a super kick to the face, and The Miz retreated with his wife. So Kevin Owens made to look really strong and really good tonight. Like, if anyone came out of tonight looking the best, it was Kevin Owens with his promo skills, commentary, wrestling ability, and he was left standing on top out of the 4 men holding the Intercontinental title. He came out looking the best overall. The next match we have is Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. Now, Ambrose was going into this storyline really needing to win. The man, I think the last storyline he won was when he beat Bray Wyatt, and I can't even remember last time that was. That was a hell of a long time ago. That was the last storyline he won. Before that, he lost to like Seth Rollins, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns to an extent in the championship bracket stuff. So he came into this needing a win, pretty much. Their storyline kind of came out of nothing. Kind of came out of just Dean Ambrose taking over the highlight reel and then making fun of Jericho and Jericho getting offended. That was pretty much what their storyline came out of. But then again, not all storylines have to be about, like, you slept with my wife! Some of them can just be, do you know what, I just don't like you and you offended me, so let's fight each other. It's kind of more realistic that way. There was a lot of Jericho fans in the house tonight, much like when he faced AJ Styles. I think a lot of people keep expecting Jericho to get booed because he's a bad guy, but a lot of people just have a lot of respect for Jericho, so he's always going to have fans. There was a lot of Jericho is Chicago signs in the crowd, and he got a mix of boos and cheers when he came out. Ambrose came out to his usual pop, as usual. I don't know how the man stays so over, despite the fact he hasn't won a wrestling match since 2014. And shout out to Jericho having GOAT written across his ass. For those of you who are not down with the hip kids new lingo, GOAT, as in a goat, is a internet acronym for greatest of all time. So it's pretty funny that he just had GOAT written across his ass. I actually had that written down. It started off as a standard match. You wouldn't like the match went on for about 15 to 20 minutes, and the first 10 minutes of it kind of just felt like a Raw match. Like it was the usual holds, little bit of bumping, little bit outside the ring, little bit back in the ring. I wouldn't say it wasn't boring, it wasn't bad, it was just kind of standard more than anything else. And then it kind of started to turn up a little bit, and that came out of a spot where I think it was Dean put Chris onto the table and was going to try and put him through it, and then Jericho started to reverse him into the walls of Jericho. Dean Ambrose was fighting against it, so Chris Jericho just went for a slingshot and slingshotted Ambrose over the table and into the timekeeper area. Wait for my camera to stop blurring. There we go. Yeah, which was a nice little spot, and that kind of started kicking it up a notch, and the match ended a lot better than it started. It ended with a lot of high impact move, a lot of teases. Dean fought out of the walls of Jericho about 3 times. Jericho caught some big hits with Dean's stupid lariat clothesline thing. And I'm a big Dean Ambrose fan, but just watching his matches lately, they just seem kind of boring. Like, not boring. Boring's a bad word. But his moveset and just the things he does is just kind of not as impressive. Especially when you see people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fight, and all their moves are like, wow! Like Kevin Owens like doing shoulder breaker spinning drops and blue thunder bombs and frog splashes. And it's kind of upsetting when you see like your favourite wrestler and like the thought slowly creeps in the back of your mind of, this isn't as good, and you know it's not as good. So that's just my own little personal opinion there, but Jericho, also during the match, Jericho was doing some creepy thing where he was whispering in Ambrose's ear, telling him how much better he was than him, and Ambrose is just like a common thug and an idiot, and that was kind of cool. Plays up Jericho being a heel again. Jericho as a bad guy is much better as Jericho as a good guy, so anytime they can make him do more bad guy stuff is A pluses for me. But the match ended when Jericho went for a lion salt, and Dean Ambrose put his knees up, but I don't think Jericho quite remembered that Dean Ambrose was supposed to put his knees up then, because it kind of looked like Jericho looked like he was about to go for a pin, and Ambrose was like fighting against it as if telling him like, no you idiot, I just put my knees up and reversed it. So it's kind of like a miscommunication there. And it transitioned some weird bit where Ambrose had Jericho in the Dirty Deeds position, hit him with a few knees, and then hit him with Dirty Deeds and won. So the ending was a bit weird. It just felt a bit botched. But the match was okay. It wasn't as good as Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, but it was better than a match you would see on Raw. So it's okay. It's okay. Next up, we had the women's match featuring Natalya versus Charlotte, with Ric Flair in Charlotte's corner and Bret Hart in Natalya's corner. Warning, I absolutely hate Bret Hart. I am not a Bret Hart fan. Anytime Bret Hart comes out to do anything, I despise it. So the fact that Bret Hart's going in Natalya's corner is a hard negative for me, especially since the man just suffered from quite a scary encounter with cancer, and now they're just shoving him into TV just for that pop because Ric Flair's there. And you'll see they shoved him in front of TV just for a pop when I tell you about the ending of this match, because boy, the ending of this match is a weird case. Of course Bret Hart got a big pop when he came out. I don't know why, but he just does. He needed help walking to the ring though, you could clearly see that. They made it look like he just had his arm around Natalya while he was walking down the ring, but she was helping him to the ring. Which is expected. The man just got over cancer. Leave him alone. Let him sit down. And he said before he doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't want to be on TV. He doesn't want to do the wrestling stuff. The only reason he'd done this is because of Natalya. Because it was Natalya and he said, yeah, I'll support her. If this was anything else, he would have said no. Because the man's done with wrestling. He doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. Just leave him alone. For my sake. And Natalya has a lot of fans, because she got her own pop and her own cheers. There was a lot of Natalya signs, and I feel like she gets the short end of the stick a lot of the time, because Natalya is one of the better women wrestlers we have. Like, if you was going to pick the 4 best women wrestlers in WWE, it would easily be Charlotte, Sasha, Becky and Natalya. And I feel like people kind of forget Natalya just because, number 1, she's older, and number 2, she's on Total Divas, and people just instantly assume, oh, she's on Total Divas, so she's one of those diva ones. It's just like, Natalya's actually pretty damn good, and in damn good shape too. So I feel like she should get some more recognition, and I feel like she could take a character much in the same way that Brock Lesnar is a character. Now hear me out, because that sounds ridiculous. Halfway through the match, Natalya hit a very damn impressive German suplex. And Natalya is a hell of a lot stronger and a lot more built than a lot of the women wrestlers. She can throw them around quite easily. Because Charlotte's bigger than Becky Lynch, and Charlotte's bigger than Sasha Banks, and Charlotte's bigger than a lot of the women wrestlers. And the fact that Natalya was able to hit a German suplex on her and throw her clean over her head, no problem. You can easily make Natalya like a Brock Lesnar character, where it's meant to be not necessarily like this monstrous woman, but this woman who's strong and you should be scared of, who just comes out whenever she wants and just thinks, yeah, now I want the title, like Brock does. Kind of like how Beth Phoenix used to be. She was the Glamazon and everyone's like, wow, she's really strong. You can easily do that with Natalya. The woman's massive in terms of arms, not like me. But the start of the match was an athletics show. It was just showing off oh, look what Charlotte can do. Oh, look what Natalya can do. Ric Flair and Bret Hart didn't do anything until the last part of the match. Also, there was a Sasha Banks chant during the match. Now, hear me out. I don't have anything against Sasha Banks. Yes, she's very talented. Probably easily the best wrestler. Not probably, easily the best female wrestler in WWE at the moment. But there was a "We Want Sasha" chant going on during the match. And ordinarily, I'd say, okay, that's just the WWE fans voicing their opinion. They want Sasha Banks to be in the title picture. Except she's already been in the title picture. She just had a title match at WrestleMania. Yes, it was a triple threat, and yes, she lost. But she just had one. And it's very disrespectful that when they start moving on to someone else, you instantly demand it goes back to the other one. So I appreciate people voicing their opinion to say, like, we want Sasha Banks, but not when it's not like they're not giving her a chance. They're giving Sasha a chance. You know Sasha's coming back into the title picture soon. It's not like they're ignoring her, like the whole Daniel Bryan stuff where they didn't want him to be champion, so the people started chanting Daniel Bryan throughout all of the wrestling matches until they got their way. This is a totally different thing. If you're chanting Sasha Banks during this match, you're not trying to give her a chance. You're just being a dick to the people who are wrestling now because she's getting the chance. So just give a bit more respect to the people that are wrestling now and just know that what you want has happened already and is coming again. That's just my 2 cents on that. You may disagree with me, but I just feel like the We Want Sasha Banks chants were in poor taste in this match rather than people demanding something. There was a couple of botches here and there. Nothing specific I can remember off the top of my head. Oh yes, there was one where Charlotte was going for the figure 4 and Natalya was meant to slap Charlotte, but Charlotte went back way too soon. So Natalya actually just whiffed it and completely missed. Like, by the time Natalya's hand was going past Charlotte's face, Charlotte was practically already on the mat. And it was very, very obvious. So it's a bit surprising that these two had botched. They're both quite usually sound in the ring. And now on to the ending. And if you've already watched Payback, you'll know the ending. And hopefully you've got the same reaction as me. They basically recreated the Montreal Screwjob. Because Charlotte put Natalya in the sharpshooter. Much like in the Montreal Screwjob, where Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in the sharpshooter. And then the referee called for the bell, Natalya hadn't tapped, gave the belt to Charlotte, and then ran away through the crowd. Exactly the same as the Montreal Screwjob. The question is why? Not that they done it, but why? Why recreate the Montreal Screwjob between Natalya and Charlotte in Chicago? If anyone else has a reason for that, apart from the fact that it then let them go, oh, it's the Montreal Screwjob all over again, oh, Bret Hart, blah, 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 blah. And apart from that, if there's a genuine reason for it that you think makes sense, please let me know, because I can't find one. I felt like it was a very piss poor finish to what was a okay match. And then Natalya put Charlotte in the sharpshooter and Bret Hart put Ric Flair in the sharpshooter, and they were tapping out together and blah 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 blah. It was kind of a disappointing end to a not great match, but a good match, a good women's match, which are starting to come more often, but I would not say they're common practice yet. Anyway, moving on from that debacle, we had Mr. McMahon deciding who was going to run Monday Night Raw. McMahon came out to huge chants. Chicago was big into Mr. McMahon, singing along to his theme song, and Vince was loving every damn minute of it until his music stopped and there was a very loud CM Punk chant. Now, I'm going to take a sip before this. The CM Punk chants are fucking annoying. That's the only word for them now. It's done. The CM Punk chant is not clever anymore. It's not needed. And it's not going anywhere. I understand CM Punk's from Chicago. Yes, I understand he's from Chicago. Congratulations. You're chanting for a man who hasn't been in WWE for a number of years now. Has expressed no interest in coming back. In fact, he's been telling everyone he doesn't want to go back. And you're chanting this at Vince McMahon. And it's just a bit pathetic and sad and ridiculous now. I'm pretty sure the CM Punk chants can officially die. Please. Because now they're just annoying more than anything else. So rather than say, ha ha ha, everyone was chanting CM Punk at Vince McMahon, I'm going to give credit to Vince McMahon. Because he was going along with it the whole damn time. They were chanting CM Punk, he was conducting it, and then when it started to get quieter, He came on the microphone and went, "Is that the best you can do?" Oh my god. The stones on Vince McMahon. He knows what they were gonna. He knew what they were gonna do, and he completely owned it. He completely owned that situation and made the CM Punk chant work in his favour. So props to him for that. Vince McMahon was on fire tonight in general. He done damn good Vince McMahon work tonight, as he does. Stephanie McMahon came out and started talking about all the things she's done for the company, saying, WWE Network done well. Women's Revolution started here. We had the biggest WrestleMania while the Authority is in charge. My boobs are still massive and I only look good when my hair's straight. Personal opinion. And the boos were so loud you could barely hear her. So, and it's not the same kind of heat that people like The Miz, it's not the kind of same heat that people like The Miz generate, or Kevin Owens when he's a bad guy generates. This is the kind of boos you get when people are sick and tired of you and just don't want you around anymore. So they just boo over everything you're saying because they're just sick of you being around. A la Roman Reigns. I don't hate Roman Reigns, by the way, guys. It's just he's a good example of things at the moment. And Stephanie mentioned the damn elephant in the room. I put it in big capital letters. Look, Stephanie mentions the elephant in the room. Why is Shane even in this situation? He lost to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He lost. The stipulation of that match was if Shane loses, he's got to leave and the Authority stay in power. Shane lost, and this is the first time we're seeing the Authority since WrestleMania. And he's been in charge. I'm so glad they mentioned the elephant in the room there, because everyone else that has two brain cells to rub together has been sitting there scratching their head trying to wonder why no one said anything about the fact that Shane McMahon's in charge, yet he lost that match. Shane McMahon comes out, does his little dance. Shane McMahon looks like someone's dad trying to be cool with his little blazer and shirt without actually a button shirt. It's a t-shirt, and he's wearing his sneakers and he's dancing around. It looks like he looks like a dad now that's trying to be cool. And then he does a little back and forth. He shows some media headlines showing like, oh, wrestling's been cool again ever since he's been in power, and like, oh, all these great matches since Shane McMahon's been in power, blah blah blah. And then Vince McMahon came on the microphone and he went a bit weird. He started saying, I want to see blood. I want to see slitting each other's throats. I want to see you dismembering each other. The whole time, Shane McMahon is literally standing there like not knowing what to say. Shane McMahon was giving Vince McMahon the biggest what the fuck face I've ever seen, while Vince McMahon is literally talking about his two children killing each other and cutting each other's throats. It ultimately finished with Vince McMahon saying that both Stephanie and Shane are going to be in charge of Raw for a while, and they're going to have to work together. Which is actually pretty interesting, and probably, I would say, more interesting than a brand split. Like, the brand split's not a bad idea, and can still happen, but I feel like this is a nice next step in this storyline. I feel like this can generate some interesting stuff, which happened during the WWE title match between Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, the WWE Corporation poster boy versus the redneck that everyone loves. AJ Styles got a huge pop when he came out. Of course, it's AJ Styles. Roman Reigns got booed to high and no heaven, and they didn't mute the boos this time. Heel turn imminent, possibly. I'll say that a couple of times. That's not the only evidence I have towards Roman Reigns taking a heel turn. Plus, look at his face there in that picture. Is that not the face of a heel now? Come on. Yeah, no muted boos for AJ. Harsh words for Roman Reigns from the crowd throughout the whole thing. You can't wrestle. You are boring. Roman sucks. Throughout the whole damn match. So, and they weren't muted or downplayed or turned down or anything. The match started off really, really damn slow and boring, just like every other Roman Reigns match. I swear, every Roman Reigns match, if you go back and watch them, all start the exact same way. A few punches, a few kicks, someone rolls out the ring, they roll back in, they do a few punches and kicks, someone else rolls out the ring, they come back in, there's a little bit of a sleeper hold, maybe a little bit of a teasing of some stuff, roll out the ring, come back in, and it's all very slow and boring, and it's every Roman Reigns match that he has starts the exact same way. It's like the first 10 minutes of a Roman Reigns match, you just might as well not watch, because nothing interesting's going to happen. It's only his matches, it's only his ones, it's him. It must be like a certain style that they want him to adopt, but it's really weird, really boring, please stop doing it. AJ Styles is also very good at selling Roman Reigns' strength. To coin a phrase, AJ Styles made Roman Reigns look very strong, physically. Roman Reigns could throw at AJ around quite a lot. AJ was selling big hard punches that Roman Reigns done and big hits. AJ Styles isn't really that much smaller than Roman Reigns, not really, but he sold Roman Reigns really well to make Roman Reigns look like a big, tough, strong guy, like a heel. Wink. But there was a clear talent gap. There's a clear talent gap between AJ and Roman. AJ was just out wrestling him. Roman was just doing basic stuff that AJ had to sell, whereas AJ was doing good stuff that looked good and was good. You can see how much better AJ is than Roman Reigns, and that's because AJ's been wrestling longer. AJ's been wrestling around the world. He's been Japan, been Ring of Honor, been TNA, been WWE, been everywhere pretty much. And Roman Reigns has just been WWE, and that's all he knows. So I can't blame Roman Reigns for that. He's still not really at his peak as a wrestler, probably. He's still learning a few things and still trying to get better. But you can really tell that AJ Styles was a better wrestler. The best spot of the night, let's talk about it. The best spot of the night actually came in the Roman Reigns match. Who the hell would have predicted that? Roman Reigns was standing on the outside of the ring. Again. He was standing in front of the table. I don't know which table it was. They have too many tables now. There's a German, there's a Spanish, there's a Japanese, there's a Swahili. There's every table you can imagine now. If only there was a table without Michael Cole, but there is one. He was standing in front of a table. AJ Styles bounced off the top rope in the ring and done his phenomenal forearm onto Roman Reigns, and they both exploded through the table. And I know they use that phrase a lot, exploded through the table, but this time they actually did, and it was damn awesome. That was a really cool spot. That was the best spot of the night. So watch this match. Don't watch the first 10 minutes. Just watch after that. See this amazing spot. Phenomenal forearm from the top ring rope down to the announce table. Exploded through the table. Pretty damn awesome. That resulted in AJ Styles rolling back in the ring and winning by countout. Except Shane McMahon came out and then said, "This match is not ending that way. This match is now a no count out match." I have to admit, WWE got me. I fully expected them to go off the air with Roman Reigns winning by countout, which would have been the heel thing. I know he got put through a table, but they could easily write that as Roman Reigns knew. Roman Reigns could easily come out the next night and be like, "Yeah, well, I'm still champion because I just stayed out the ring knowing I would win, knowing I would keep the title if I got counted out because I'm the guy." That's quite easy to write. So they got me there. So the match restarted, no count outs anymore. Then there was a few more back and forth parts, a few more teases of phenomenal elbows, a few more teases of Superman punches. I'm pretty sure a Superman punch got hit at some point. And then AJ Styles went to the top rope to hit something. Oh, he hit a 450 splash at one point, which was pretty cool. Roman Reigns put his knees up and it actually looked like he hurt his knee while doing it. So that was kind of a cool moment. And then he was favouring the knee a little bit, so he might have actually hurt himself doing it. But AJ Styles went to the top rope, went to jump on Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns punched him in the air. Not a Superman punch, just a punch, which hit him in the area where you would wear a belt. Like, not a championship belt, just a belt. And the referee ended the match saying it was a DQ because Roman Reigns punched AJ in the gonads. So he counted it as a low blow. So 2 false finishes in one match. I think that's a new WWE record. I'm pretty sure that's a new record for them. But then Stephanie McMahon came out and said, I knew Shane McMahon would forget something. By the way, this match is also no DQ, so start the match over again. So we're already starting to see a little bit of this dynamic of how Stephanie and Shane are going to be working together. And I quite like it. I quite liked that little bit. I thought that was quite well done, which makes me happy that this is the direction they're taking with the whole who's in charge of Monday Night Raw thing. It's something I wouldn't have thought of, but I'm already liking how it's working. The brand split can happen at another time. We don't need to rush that. Roman Reigns had certain facial expressions on his face, like he was angry, like furious, and they were very, it's going to sound stupid, but they were very heel, bad guy-like facial expressions. Like, I can't believe this match has restarted. I just kept my title twice and now I have to keep it a third time. Once I got myself counted out and now I got myself disqualified and they keep restarting this damn match. This is what makes me feel like they're going towards the Roman heel turn more often than more so than anything else. Just the fact that he was so angry at the fact that the match kept getting restarted after he lost to AJ but kept his title. So just remember that for future. Just remember that for future. If you want to go see those facial expressions, watch the match, but it definitely feels like he was very angry at the fact that he kept having to defend the title when he'd already kept the title through other means. And he was wrestling like a heel as well. Like, there was a very impressive moment where he just picked up AJ, put him on the top rope, and just punched him in the head and knocked him to the floor. And it wasn't like technically good, but I was just like, calm down, Roman Reigns. Chill out. It's just a match. So then Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows came out, started beating up Roman Reigns, this, that, and the other. And before I carry on, I'm just going to say when this match went into the no disqualification portion is when this match became good. So this is a really good match to watch. I would say this would have been the match of the show if it wasn't for that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn one. And even then, it's pretty damn close. Like, if this match didn't have those first 10 minutes, I would say this was the match of the show. But those first 10 minutes just really put me off. And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are just really good. But this was a really good match as well. So they came out, started beating up Roman Reigns. AJ Styles hit his phenomenal elbow. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, I'm pretty sure, and Roman Reigns kicked out of it all 3 times. Can anyone say devaluing a finisher? If people keep on kicking out of your finisher, it makes it look weak. And the fact that Roman Reigns kicked out of it about 3 times makes the phenomenal forearm look terrible. He kicked out of it way too many times. Perhaps AJ could have just changed it up and maybe gone for a missile dropkick at some point. Just something different that isn't your finisher to make it look terrible when he kicks out. Then the Usos came out and the Usos beat up Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Well, they didn't beat him up, but they were just having a fight on the outside. There was a spot where AJ was on the top rope. Roman Reigns pushed him off. AJ Styles took out everyone on the side of the ring. Just when they started getting up, Roman Reigns done his little dive over the top rope, took everyone out the ring except for AJ. And then as Roman Reigns was getting up, AJ hit his phenomenal elbow again. Admittedly, this time it was off the barricade, not off the top rope, but he hit it again. And there was a lot of close finishes with Superman punches and calf crushers. AJ went for Styles Clash. But it ultimately ended with AJ getting 2 Superman punches, the second one being particularly vicious and heel-like. I can't stress this enough. This match really made Roman Reigns look heel. It really looks like Roman Reigns is turning heel soon. This match made it look very much so like it's happening. So he hit 2 Superman punches and then went for the spear. he got kicked in the head. Some stuff happened. AJ went for phenomenal elbow again. Roman Reigns ducked underneath it, bounced off the ropes, hit AJ with a gruesome spear. Probably the best spear he's ever hit, except for that one on Stephanie McMahon. And he won. So it was a pretty damn good match. And as such, it was a pretty damn good pay-per-view overall. I was very... I know there's a lot of people who are upset with this pay-per-view. I've already had a look at a few people's thoughts on it. Some people are quite angry over the fact that just certain stuff that's happened, like Enzo got injured. You can't really say it's a bad pay-per-view because Enzo got injured. That didn't make it a bad pay-per-view. That's just an unfortunate thing to happen. People going, oh, Roman Reigns won, so it's a bad pay-per-view. It's not the fact that he won that made it a bad pay-per-view. He won it in a good way. It made AJ look good because AJ won. AJ took it to Roman Reigns. Yeah, he devalued his finisher a lot, but it was a really good match. It made Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson look okay because they came out to help AJ. And AJ didn't stop them this time and took advantage of it. So that forwards that part of it. Made Roman Reigns look good. So the fact that Roman Reigns won should not take away from the fact that the way he won it is good. And the pay-per-view was good. Sami Zayn match, good. Miz versus Cesaro, it was an okay match, but the storyline was okay. Ambrose vs Jericho, again, okay match. Women's match, bad finish, but pretty good match. The McMahon segment went on a bit too long, but I feel like they were just trying to fill out time because the tag team match finished early, so they had to talk for a bit longer. I feel like if the tag team match happened, they would have talked a bit less, but a pay-per-view has to be a certain amount of time long, and when a potentially 30-minute tag team match ends in 5 minutes, you've got to make up that extra time somewhere. I feel like this is a good one. I feel like this was a good pay-per-view to watch. I enjoyed this pay-per-view more than I enjoyed WrestleMania, put it that way. WrestleMania I think I put at a 6. I think I'd give this one maybe 7.5. Purely by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was carrying this show on his shoulders. So, my opinion, watch the Kevin Owens match, watch the Miz match just for Kevin Owens commentary, and then watch the Roman Reigns match. Pretty damn good. And that's my review of WWE Payback. Let me know in the comments what you think, if I've said anything stupid or something you don't agree with, or if I said something you do agree with and you think I brought up a good point of something, let me know. If you enjoyed this video though, everybody, make sure you leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it though, or you think I'm a stupid idiot, you can leave a dislike. Leave a comment though, let me know what you think. I like reading them. And I will see you all on May 23rd. No, the event's happening on May 22nd, so I'll see you a day or two after that when I review Extreme Rules, where the main event has already been confirmed as a Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles and Extreme Rules match. That has already been confirmed. It was confirmed on the pay-per-view, so potential Balor Club? Maybe. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.